Blog Talk Radio.
Today is Friday, March 25th, 2016, and this is Foxology Today. I am Silver Ray Fox, your host. Happy Friday to you. And it's not just Friday, it's Good Friday. And for Christian believers around the globe, we are celebrating our salvation. Everybody may not understand why that's a big deal, but we worship Jesus Christ and honor his mission on earth this weekend. And not only is that a big deal, it's a finished deal. We live this life with the knowledge of his life and death and resurrection and our redemption and the reality of eternal life. Ooh, somebody got to say amen. Anyway, earlier this week, Chloe Taylor Brown was my special guest, and toward the end of the show, before we were rudely interrupted by some kind of technical glitch, she shared some of the most intimate experiences about her life from her new book, I Can Laugh Again, From the Valley of Grief to A Glimpse of Heaven. And she talked about growing up in a family of 8 in rural Mississippi. She talked about losing her mom at age 13 due to a tragic accident, and later years even losing her 4-year-old son. But in between that time, Chloe made a courageous and successful rise in her life and career. Family members embraced her, made sure she evolved into a strong, educated woman. She went on to marry the love of her life, and she's taken all the pieces of that journey and put them in her book and into efforts that are very positive and productive endeavors that are encouraging and empowering people, girls, and women everywhere. And I'm so happy to have her back for a part 2 so we can finish up where we left off. Welcome back, Chloe.
Thank you, Silver. It's great to be back with you today. Happy Good Friday.
Yeah, happy Good Friday to you. It is a good day for sure, for sure. Well, listen, I want to kind of, I just reflected just a little bit on what we talked about for those who may not have listened to part 1 but will. But let's kind of just do a short, a brief on your book. We began talking about your background and how that led into your book. So if you just want to reflect on that for a minute or two for us, and then we're going to pick up where we left off. You were about to tell us about a very special event that I think may be the first time and going to be an annual, but go ahead and reflect for us for a minute or two about your life and your book.
Okay, well, I Can Laugh Again is a memoir. The subtitle is From the Valley of Grief to a Glimpse of Heaven. And I wrote that book a couple of years following the death of my youngest child at the time, Justin. And he was almost 4 when he drowned in our pool. At the time, Silver, my husband and I were living our dream life, and we had created that life. We talked about it from college, and we seemed to be so blessed and fortunate, and we did work very hard to make our life happen. He and I both grew up in Mississippi, and we met at Mississippi State University. And, I didn't really think I would go to college because I'd grown up with just really feeling sad for myself and being one of 8, as you said earlier, in a family with my mother having been killed in a car accident, my father being an alcoholic and could not take responsibility for his own children. That was sad, but, that happens. So my grandmother was doing her very best in taking care of us. And at the age of about 16, my aunt and uncle decided that they needed to really come get me from my grandmother because they could do a better job. And they brought me to live with them and my 2 cousins. And my life seemed to change overnight to put me on the trajectory of the dreams that I wanted. So I did, fast forward a little bit, I did go to college. I met my husband. We both had these big dreams. He was a professional basketball player. I was a model, and we decided we were going to have all these babies, and then Justin died. And our life crashed. We crashed all the way from being really high and joyous to being very low and depressed and wallowing in self-pity. And that really took its toll on us. And so I'm really doing very well now, but, that was a while and took a lot of work. This happened in 1996, so it's almost 20 years that Justin died. I don't want anyone to think that I just woke up and decided I was going to laugh again. It took a lot of work. And as you said, I was able to put everything that I had gone through and everything that I loved and all the things that I was good at, I sat back and looked at myself now. How can I get my life back together? How can I put these pieces back together? So I literally went into my closet for several weeks and with my pen and my pad, and I created this new plan of how I was going to recreate myself and reinvent myself. And writing was a part of it, and going back to school was a part of it, and just being happy. And once I made the decision, it wasn't easy, but I knew what I had in front of me, and I knew the steps that I needed to take. And so that brings me back to my business that I created for myself. I was going to set my sight on being an encourager and a supporter and a champion for women and girls, and that's what I do now in my business.
And you're doing an awesome job of it, too. I think that's a good segue into us talking about your other book, because there were other questions I wanted to ask you about, and that's Girl Swag. Before you start detailing Girl Swag, what exactly is Girl Swag? What's swag when it comes to girls and women, in your opinion?
Well, swag, the word swag, it was, when I wrote the book, was very popular. That was in 2011, 13, when I was writing and publishing that book. But I did a play on words when I was growing up and loving fashion. My grandmother was always sewing. My Aunt Anita was always sewing, and I was really tall, and I still am, so we made a lot of my clothing during that time. And my grandmother always talked about cutting on the bias and the swags of fabric. And then I learned later that swagger was the way that you walk and your stride. And so I thought, to be able to put the way that a girl and a woman walks with the fabric, the flow of her life, that's called Girl Swag. And so that's where that name came from. But it's a curriculum workbook for young women and girls to really create themselves based on who they already are, to kind of put everything into a package. And many of us don't know that unless someone draws it out for us. But that book asks a lot of great questions and helps you to educe and draw out from yourself of who you really are and what life game you really want to play. So that's what that's all about.
Well, I think it's a powerful message, particularly, I think I may have said something like this the other day, but I really do feel particularly the message needs to get stronger and stronger, and there's so many women who are rising to that occasion along with you who recognize the fact that girls and women, too, are being influenced by some imagery and other types of philosophies that really don't so much deal with our inner being and our inner strength and our inner evolving and growing and becoming. And so I really know, like you, the essentials of that and how important it is that we build on that. What may be at some point a lack of self-esteem, but it needs to grow. It's always growing and becoming more and more beautiful. And so it's really great to see how you did take a play on a popular term to grab the attention and impact girls and women the way that you're doing. Well, I know you've got a very special event planned as well. So tell us about that, how that all came about.
The event is April 30th in Atlanta, and it's going to be at the Swan Coach House Tea Room, which is adjacent to the Atlanta History Center. And it's a pink affair, a mother-daughter soiree. And I work with corporate women, professional women, entrepreneurs. I work with men, too, but mostly women and girls. So I thought this would be a great idea to do something for mothers and daughters, for women and girls at the same time. It is going to be so wonderful and so girly girl. I'm doing it with another organization called Dolls to Divas, and that is run by Tanya Henderson Freeman. And the Girl Swag curriculum and the Girl Swag project partners with other women and girls organization to do things such as this. So it's really wonderful to have this curriculum and to join forces with other organizations who have their own curriculum, but they need something more, just a little bit more. And Girls Swag seems to be part of the answer for so many organizations, because it's really about the whole person, from how a woman or girl feels about herself, how she perceives and trusts her gut, how she's making decisions about what she perceives and what she knows in her inner being, how she's going to communicate those decisions. And the way that we communicate, Silver, is verbal and nonverbal. It attracts people to us, or it pushes people away. So this curriculum teaches them how to build rapport and to interact with other people.
Yes, yes. And so you're doing this, it sounds like, with a lot of enjoyment mixed with education. I can't imagine you'd be doing this without making sure that a word comes across from the front to give give the girls and women something to take home with, a good takeaway from all of this. I know there's going to be a lot of inspiring things going on. What do you have planned?
Well, it seems like you know me well. It's going to be very educational, but not like in your face. It's really light and fun and girly girl. All the women and girls wear shades of pink, fuchsia, or magenta, and they can wear their jewels if they want, their gloves. They can dress up as much as they want. We have some wonderful speakers. We have Tia Buckham White. We have Dr. Myla Bennett, and also Banda Textiera. I think I said her name right. With these three women, we're coming together, and we're each dropping golden and platinum and pearl nuggets on the girls. And we also have a dream basket where when the girls and ladies get there, they're going to write their dreams on a card and put it in a basket. And we'll be able to call on all of them at the event, but we're going to draw some of the dreams out, and we're going to read those dreams out aloud. And then there are other women who will be able to relate to that particular person's dream, and we want them to partner up together and work on these dreams together, because sometimes when we're working, we feel alone. We're working on our big life dream by ourselves. We feel alone. So I've noticed that when we can partner up in two or more, then we can really move and have some fun and feel like we have somebody with us, because that's important. Young people say ride or die. We need a ride or die partner to help us with our big life dreams as well.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So I didn't hear you mention yourself in the lineup of speakers.
Yes, well, I'm going to be a speaker as well, and so is my partner for this, Tanya Henderson Freeman. I'm going to come at the end and wrap everything up and leave the women with a solid plan to follow of how to put all of that excitement and all the fun into their real life, because sometimes we get stuck in our heads, and sometimes we can go to all these events and be out and get some really great nuggets. We don't know how to go home to apply it. So that's where I'm going to come in and give them a system, a platform, and processes to put it all together, and also to make an offer to them that if they'd like to connect with me afterwards, that they will have me. They can just pick up the phone, send me an email, shout out to me on social media. I like being there for people, especially women and girls.
Yes, yes. Well, it sounds really, really wonderful, and I have no doubt it's going to be a major success. Is it something you're going to plan annually?
I would love to do this annually. As a matter of fact, I said before that Girls Swag is a curriculum to partner with other organizations. So we're planning to do this annually, and I also have an opportunity to go to New Jersey to do something similar. And I've been offered to be the spokesperson for an organization that many people have never heard of. I'd never heard of. It's called the Turner Syndrome. And this syndrome affects women and girls. Girls are born without one of their chromosomes, and they are usually very short. Years ago, we didn't know very much about this, and today people don't either. But the medical profession, they're catching on. So you can be diagnosed as a baby, and then at a certain age they start to give you hormones and you can grow taller, but the average height for a Turner syndrome girl is 4'8", and she can't have babies, and so they're looking for a spokesperson, a spokeswoman who could relate to empowering and inspiring women and girls, and they asked me to do that, so I'm going to go to New York and meet them in May, and we're going to plan an event for them as well. So it's really exciting. You know, when you do the work that you love, it's like you're not really working, you're playing. Now, you can wear yourself out, so you want to, you know, even though you love what you do, I've been there, worn myself out, Silver, trying to do everything at one time. So, but I just love what I do, and I feel so blessed to be able to play my life game, so to speak.
And you are a blessing, and I no doubt picked the right person to bring that inspiration. Chloe, with such extensive work with girls and women, what do you find are some of the more problematic things? And when I say that, I know we all grow up with, you know, in a place where feeding us information is so crucial to our development. But when in this time in life, in society, when you're in your classes or groups with girls, what are some of the issues that they feel are the most challenging to overcome, and for you to offer them information for, you know, empowerment and growth?
Well, I know that people are talking about this a lot, but it really is true. The damages of social media. Now, we love social media. Excuse me. We do love social media. If you use it correctly, it can be very inspiring and empowering. That's how we've met. But a lot of young people, girls and boys, but a lot of young girls are being very damaged by the images and also by bullying of social media. So I find that a lot of them are coming with a very low self-value of themselves. And a lot of people are telling them who they are not. So what I do is not just tell them who they are. The curriculum, Girl Swag Curriculum Workbook, which is available at Amazon.com and everywhere books are sold, it draws out of them. It's not preachy. It's not telling them. It asks them really great questions, and they answer these questions. And it's such a creative process that's coming right for them. It starts to build their self-value, their self-esteem, their self-worth, their confidence right away, and they get to put this into real-life practice. And somewhere by the fourth chapter in the book or the fourth week, whether it's a 12-week workshop or planning retreat, or they show up every week, or whether we do 2 chapters a week and it's 6 weeks, somewhere around that fourth chapter, they start to really get an aha, light bulb moment, whatever you want to call it, goes off for them, and they can understand how they can create their own thoughts and see themselves for who they really are and who they really want to become. And so then they can dispel or beat down this bullying or not listen to it or take on their own value themselves. And so they made their own goals, and they can visualize that. And that really seems to work.
Mm-hmm. You know, I overheard a conversation last week. Actually, as a part of this conversation, a gentleman and a young woman and myself were chatting, and he was sharing just some general life philosophies and, you know, kind of had his own take on, you know, empowering people and all of that. And he shared something, and the young, he and you know how when we're speaking, we'll say, you know what I mean? And she looked up at him, and this is a very beautiful young woman. I never would have thought what I heard come out of her mouth would have come out of her mouth, but she looked at him and dropped her eyes and looked back up, and she said, "No, because I'm not smart. I don't understand that." And I think I did my head did a 360 degree spin, like, what? Mm-hmm. I said, honey, please don't ever say anything like that about yourself. I said, you are smart. What would even make you think you're not? And boy, did he go all in on that. And I thought, you know, what a wonderful moment for her, even though it seemed like a terrible moment in time and space, that I was there and I do what I do, and he was there as a a male who really wanted to see her think more of herself. It was a beautiful moment, and I'm positive one of those kinds of moments she'll never forget. And I believe it probably changed her whole life. I mean, she really believed what she said. But I said that to say that I think a lot of people, but particularly women, I don't know what they're using as their plumb line, who they're comparing themselves to on a daily basis as far as their image or their intelligence, and where they're going in life. But the opportunities, as you well know, it's a pretty even playing field. Regardless of where you come from in life, you can have a dream and you can make it happen.
Absolutely.
And I know that's your big message.
Yes, and you see, that young lady didn't just grow up thinking that. That was planted in her head by someone or some circumstance or incident. And fortunately, she had you there and the gentleman. And I like that you said that, because young women and young girls need to have encouragement from men and women and from other teens as well. You know, peer pressure is real. But when we can have our fathers and uncles and brothers and male teachers, we need the male influence as well to tell us who we are and how great we are and what we can achieve. So I love that. I feel so fortunate. My daughter is always bragging on her dad, but that shouldn't be. That should not be the exception. That should be the norm, that young women and girls have positive men in their lives.
Absolutely. Well, before we go any further with any of that, I want to make sure you talk about some of the other very special products and services that you offer, and then we're going to give people information on how they can get hold of you to speak or present or be a part of their events. So let's talk about some of the products, the ones you want, and services, the ones you'd like to highlight.
Well, the foundation of almost everything that I do is based on my personal excellence profile, and that's PEP, P-E-P, the acronym for that. It is an online assessment that's on my website, the ChloeExperience.com, and experience is with an X. You can also find it on my other website, ChloeTaylorBrown.com. And that profile that's what my curriculum for girls is based on, those 12 vital abilities. That's where I start with corporate clients or any client. We always start with the PEP. And it's an assessment that you answer 200 simple questions. You bubble in yes, sometimes, or no. And it really tells you and shows you who you are right now based on your thoughts and your viewpoints. And we can change our thoughts. And so this tool shows us how to use where we are in our higher levels right now to make our life work. It's a real life right now type of tool. And it also shows us right now how to elevate ourselves in other areas where we may not be as strong. So you can find that personal excellence profile, go online and take that. You can also find my other books. Getting Ready Chloe Style, Perfecting Your Authentic Image was my first book. That's all about the relationship between body image, self-esteem, and fashion, and how a lot of us think, Silver, that the clothes that we wear make us. Well, they can make us look good or make us look a hot mess, but we are not our clothes, but we want to project a certain image, so that talks about that. And then I have another book, a workbook, that's called Determine Your Ideal. I never intended for that to be a book, but it was a plan that I wrote to reinvent myself when I was ready to come out of my paradigm crash, and I was finished with modeling at the time. I really didn't know who I was or what I wanted to do, and when I talked about going into that closet and taking my pen and my pad, I came out with that plan, and I used that plan. From that, I knew I needed more knowledge, and I went back to school, and when I was actually writing my first book was at the publishers, I looked back at my plan. I was thinking, well, this is pretty good. And so I decided to publish that, and that's done very well. I used that with women. And then my third book is what we've been talking about, Girl Swag. And my fourth book, and I'm loving my fourth book because it has inspired me, my family members, and so many other people have been writing and calling me and telling me how this book is really inspiring them and helping them to move forward after a loss of a loved one. And that's my new memoir, I Can Laugh Again.
Mhm. Well, you have truly, you've been at work, and it's paying off, and it's just been so wonderful to have you share so much and to hear about your life work and your life purpose. If someone wants to have you at their event as a speaker or more interviews or anything like that, what information would you like to give out?
They can simply send me an email at Chloe, CHLOE, at ChloeTaylorBrown.com. So it's my first name, Chloe, at ChloeTaylorBrown.com, and that's from my website. Or you can just simply go to ChloeTaylorBrown.com and contact me from there. And I do answer my emails. It may take a day or two, but I will definitely answer back. And I just love it when people call me to or contact me to be part of their events or to share on the radio show such as you've done. And thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much for taking the time, not only once this week, but twice. And I just wish you so much continued blessings and success in all that you do. Thanks a million, Chloe. And I want to thank all of you. You're welcome. And I want to thank all of you, too, for tuning in. It's been a real pleasure talking to you as well. And I hope that you'll take the time to share what I do online. I'm always bringing you something very positive, very productive, empowering, educational on my radio show, Foxology. You can follow, I wanted to mention this, Chloe, you can also follow her on Facebook. She's got a wonderful news feed of things that are constantly going on in her life and offering empowering information. But you can follow me there as well, and on Twitter, and you can look at me on LinkedIn, and you can just Google Silver Ray Fox, and you'll see a myriad of things that will pop up. But in the meantime, I want to wish you a great day. I hope you have a very happy Good Friday. Look for me again on Monday. I'll have another very exciting show, and be looking forward to doing that. So make the rest of your day the best of your day. Be good, be blessed, be awesome.